Good morning. I hope after that introduction that I won't let you down. But just out of show of hands, how many people, this is your first time to Denver, Colorado? Wow. Wow. Okay. We've got to show up, I guess, right? We've got to really create the great experience for you to be here. You know, I was thinking when I was asked to speak, I thought, wow, this is a very prestigious group. I really didn't know what I was going to talk about. And, of course, I am going to put in a commercial. I will tell you all that. But I really started to think about it. And then I woke up in a cold sweat in the fetal position one night thinking that I was at that final exam and I hadn't been to one class. So it all started coming back to me, and I thought, well, what I'm going to do today is tell you a little bit about our organization. I think that's important. I'd like to tell you a little bit about how we work with the programs, college and university programs here. And let me just, by, again, a show of hands, how many of you work closely with your Convention and Visitors Bureau or your DMOs in your city or state? Right on. And so I'm going to talk a little bit about that, tell you a little bit about what we do, tell you a little bit about the results of what we do, and then a little bit about some of the trends as well. So that's really what I want to talk about today, and if we end, and I'd love to learn some questions or some insight from you as well. Our mission, of course, is to bring conventioneers and visitors here for the economic well-being of our city. Tell you a little bit about Denver. I grew up in western New York, right on Lake Erie, and my family, I've been doing this probably for 25 years in the hotel industry, started out with Hilton, and my family still calls up and says, so how's the convention center? I say, well, I don't work at the convention center, I sell it. And then they say, well, how's the Chamber of Commerce? I don't work at the Chamber of Commerce. And then they say, well, just how the heck are you? And that's how we leave it, because this is a really weird industry. I know when I go to my dining club, I'm the only guy that does what I do in the city. So it's a fascinating world, and I never really knew a lot about it. But it really is seeing the industry from a 30,000 foot level. But in 1908, we hosted the Democratic National Convention. And I thought I was a good marketer until I read the brochures and the lies. I mean, the things that they said about Denver to get the Denver Democratic National Convention to pick them in 1908. And in 1909, the city fathers said, we need to bring people back that pay money and pay taxes and then leave. We've got to do that. So in 1909, we were formed. We're the 6th oldest Convention and Visitors Bureau in the country. And by the way, Detroit, where the automobile industry is #1 Convention and Visitors Bureau in the country. So we were formed, and in 2008, 100 years later, we hosted the Democratic National Convention with the candidate Barack Obama. And so that's what we did in 2008. In 2009, we celebrated our 100-year anniversary, which was really pretty exciting. We are a 501c6 organization. I have 39 board members. So we have a great diverse group of industry people and actually just community executives. We have 60 full-time staff, an office in D.C. and Chicago. We have about a $16 million budget, so if you stay in a Denver hotel, you'll pay a lodger's tax, and we get a little piece of that we put all towards marketing. And then we have 1,100 members. We raise about $3 to $4 million of private dollars a year from our members in advertising and different programs. We put that together, and that's our $16 million budget. And I would say, just to give you a little idea, that's about in the top 20 bureaus in the country. Our budget, of course, we have Las Vegas with $192 million, Orlando at like $50 million, and then everybody else is down below. The one thing I do know that I do speak a lot about is just the power of travel. And, you know, you can all see this, but it does flow. You know, people will come, the visitors will come, the conventioneers will come. They're planning their vacation. They're making their money somewhere else. They'll come to your city via some sort of transportation, mode of transportation, and then they spend in so many different areas, whether it's campgrounds, amusement park, recreation, and then, of course, that ripples down into the economy. So I'm so very proud of the industry and the impact that we have on our economy. And, in fact, just in the first quarter of 2011, tourism leads the way as a sector that is creating jobs here in Colorado. And in fact, tourism is the second largest industry in the state of Colorado and in our city of Denver. So we're really proud of this industry. I would say tourism to Colorado is like the automobile industry is to Detroit, or wine is to Napa. It's a really big industry for us, and we appreciate it. Just want to make a little bit of a connection with all of you, because a lot of times what I've been doing now when I speak to our programs here in the city and the state, I really say to myself, well, you know, I'm not specifically in the hotel industry. I can't, you know, talk about front desk anymore and that type of stuff, and I'm not specifically at a restaurant. but one of the things that we do is we try to increase demand that hopefully feeds into all these different sectors. So we are really what we consider the demand generator. We have 219 hotel and lodging members. So we are a great vehicle to get jobs, kids jobs. We do a lot of internships, and then we hire, and then we promote, and we recommend when we have kids that come in and do informational interviews. We work with our colleges and universities. We book about $500 million of convention business, and that's direct economic impact every year in our city. 6 out of 10 group hotel rooms downtown are booked by our office. And that's why most hotels only have one salesperson. Not really, they have a lot, but that's where it's good. And our staff collectively have over 100 years of hotel experience. On the restaurant food side, we have 251 members that represent restaurants and caterers. We actually started Restaurant Week. This is a really interesting story. Travel and Leisure magazine did a study, and they asked everybody, here are your top 25 cities in the U.S., who has the best fine dining? Well, we ranked 24th in fine dining about 6 years ago when we started this 7 years ago. But when they asked people who live in Colorado that subscribe to the magazine, we were 25th. So we knew we had a problem. So what we did is we took a play off of Restaurant Week, which was actually started when New York City hosted the DNC. They started Restaurant Week to try to engage the citizens in the convention. And we started Restaurant Week. We are now the largest restaurant week in the country over New York City and LA. We had 303 restaurants participate this year. We served 360,000 meals. It's unbelievable. And you want to know what the hook is? It's 2 dinners for $52.80. Mile High, for $52.80, you get 2 great dinners, and everybody participates. I mean, the restaurants sell out as soon as we announce the date. We almost have to keep the date secret right now. And then we have the largest beer festival in the country, and could be in the world. I think it's in the country, and it's every September, October, and it's phenomenal. 46,000 people go through this. I'll let you run the numbers. The tickets are $45 each. It's a big show. And on top of it, we have 140 cultural attractions that are members of ours, 150 convention service folks, 57 sports and recreation companies, and 192 attractions that are all members of ours. So again, with our students that are coming out, we hope that we can be a portal to some good jobs in our industry down the road. We started Arts Week, again, to let people know how great our city is for art and culture. We actually have a little tax, a sales tax in all of our counties. It generates $38 million, and we support 300 art and scientific and cultural facilities. It's called our SCFD district. So we did this. And I'm a firm believer that brand, I don't think Seattle woke up one day and said, let's put Starbucks, Microsoft, and grunge together and get Seattle. And I think that a lot of our cities have to have a brand that is built from the ground up, and I really believe it's the locals that drive that. So we have no problem spreading our programs to our locals. Also, 70% of our visitors come here and visit friends and family. So we really believe if we educate our locals, they're going to educate our visitors and spread that word. And hopefully when you leave here, you're going to say, I really love Denver. We started an event calendar as well, so if you ever want to know what's going on in Denver, denver365.com. I will tell you a little bit. We do support education. Our Visit Denver Foundation awarded nearly $400,000 over the last decade to 160 students. So we work very closely with our colleges and universities around the state. Okay, I'm just going to talk a little bit about what we do because I think many of you know it, but I think this will engage and start to talk about some of the trends and results and things that are happening in our industry that I don't know that we're seeing when we're on campus because the world is changing so fast in our world, and I'm sure you're implementing all of this, but we market and obviously sell to meeting planners, we sell to travel planners, and then we provide services. Now, you're looking at this, and I'm going to say, this is the fundamental game plan of our organization. You're going to say, what's the donut doing around that hot dog? And it's actually a really good graph to show you kind of how we do our business. And if you look on the left side of the hot dog, it says inspiration. That's where we spend probably 60% of our resources on inspiring people to put us on the top of their list and consider Denver and Colorado as a place to either visit or do business as a convention. And as you go along the spectrum, what you'll see is eventually they do the research, and then something will make them take action. And usually that's a good airfare, a hotel rate, something that's going on makes them take an action, and then the orange spot in the middle there is the travel experience. And I want to say the most frustrating part for us, of course, is we own nothing. That's the other thing my relatives like is when they say, what do you do? I say, well, I sell space way out into the future. And they're like, okay, we really don't want to know what you do. But when you look at this, the travel experience is everything, and we don't own a thing. So we work with thousands of companies who deliver thousands of products and services at thousands of different levels of service and products. So it can be a little bit frustrating because we really count on everybody to create that great experience. Now, we do have a lot of what we call Mile High ambassadors, Mile High training. We do a lot of destination training for our frontline staff, and we think that's really a payoff because we have groups leave and say, you're really a friendly city, and I think it works. And then after you leave the orange dot, you go into your post-trip experience. Now, in the old days, you went home and you signed a postcard and you sent it in the mail and said, we had a great vacation. Now, because of social media, when you're experiencing it, literally people are taking pictures and they're showing you what's going on, and then you're back into the inspiration because hopefully those pictures, those sharing moments that are happening while you're at the destination are inspiring somebody else to come to your destination. The donut around that is everything that we do day to day. I mean, this is our 60 people.